yes, your students will use AI, but will you also use AI? Because they showed us this website, Magic Website or Magic School. If you search up teacher AI, it's the first one that pops up. And it's pretty scary in how much it can actually do. It can grade papers, it can give out tests, give out lessons, so on and so on. And we did have a discussion about how when if AI keeps developing at the rate it is, will teachers be another job that will be substituted by AI? And it was a discussion that we were having, and most of the people were like, no, because there needs to be a human aspect. But AI is rapidly growing, so I don't really know what's going to look like, I don't know, even in 6 months.
Hey everyone, my name is Dulf Vincent Genis. We are back here at the University of Illinois at the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning in discussions around AI. Here we have Daisy.
My name is Daisy Castro, majoring in middle grade education with a concentration in social science, and I am currently a senior.
Awesome. And we are here in Bruktawit.
Hi, my name is Bruktawit Yigzaw. I'm a sophomore. I'm pursuing a dual degree in studio art and advertising with a minor in informatics sciences.
Awesome. And then we're also here with Abby.
I'm Abby Brown. I am studying psychology with a concentration in industrial organizational, and I'm a senior.
Awesome. Okay, so great to have you guys on. So we can go ahead and start then with kind of your experiences in AI. So have you used AI, in what form? That can be in chatbots or whatever. And then kind of just tell us about the ways in which that you've been able to use it recently. So
I like using it just, I don't know, for anything. For social media, I'll use it if I need to work on something that I want to make sound a little better, or if I want more ideas, just to really kind of bring in more, just some ideas from a different perspective, because I know ChatGPT brings a lot of information from so many different places that I can kind of use some of the stuff that it has. Also giving it the information, having to specify all the information that I wanted to kind of, put together, and then give me that outline, either that be for my student orgs, or either helping me study and kind of put all my work together so I can create study guides, or even I've used it to make workout plans for me and just kind of break everything down, put in everything that I want, what I want to build, what I want to focus on. Also in terms of meal planning or just food, I feel like it's just a overall general, just a big tool. Yeah, tool is a good word. Outline, just for everything, not the final product, but something to help you kind of get there.
Right. Awesome. And your experience, Abby?
Yeah, I can relate to both of you, as I use ChatGPT as more of a support system to kind of outline an agenda system for me. At this point, AI, I use Chat 4.0, by the way. I'm very into it. ChatGPT knows me by now. They know my name. They know my social security. And it's really crazy, because I will basically tell ChatGPT what I want it to say for me, and it organizes it for me. I use it for my RSO as well, and I kind of indicate what I want the agenda plan to look like and what those variables are, and then they organize it for me in the agenda plan, and having titles for each outline of who's presenting this, and the agenda item for each one. And then also, like I said, I'm in HR, and I use a lot of it for documentation. So it actually will support Excel sheets through 4.0 if you have it. And I will basically lay out the plan that I want it to have in the Excel sheet, and I can save the file and easily add on to things that way. And this works for documents where I can upload and also make into Excel files as well. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very supportive.
Oh,
that's really cool. I did not know it could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what? You can go on. Wait, it can.
So it can create she'll put in an Excel format, and she gives it the information. She tells it how she wants it to lay out, and then it'll put it in Excel for her.
Yeah.
She can just download it, and it's already done. So
is that a more advanced version of? Is that the GPT?
I think it's ChatGPT 4.0.
Is that the one you pay for?
Yes.
Okay.
Pay for it.
Yeah, I got the free trial for it, but it actually is pretty helpful, because it also involves images and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use the images as well.
Okay.
For my RSO, we have images that we use for presentations, and sometimes I want an explicit image of someone working versus someone doing something more fast-paced, or just HR related things, and it just zooms out an image for me, the exact color that I want it, the exact image that I tell it to make. It's really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's I want to be thoroughly educated in what those capabilities are before I actually start paying for it. So it's good to know that I can do that. Yeah, it's great. Going into, and we'll come back to this, but essentially going into just kind of your experiences in using AI in your classes, for example. Can you guys kind of tell me a little bit about how you've been able to directly use AI when it comes to your education and your own learning, I guess, developing your learning, but of course kind of dumbing down like those ideas that ChatGPT is only, the implications of it are just very negative?
Yeah, I think there's always a stigma behind AI and people cheating because, I mean, honestly, it's a very easy gateway to cheat. But I think if you honestly want to learn from AI and use it as a support system, you can tame yourself from doing that. I know Dulf mentioned that he uses study cards for AI, which I've never done before, and I actually think that's a really good idea. But yeah, I think when I'm writing essays, it's very hard for me to start an essay and know like the kind of idea that I'm getting at. So AI helps me kind of generate an idea that I can go along with, and maybe some sub points that I can talk about in the essay. I think that helps. Trying to think. I think also like if I'm confused about a slide, I think it's hard to look at a slide and understand what the lecturer is saying if you weren't at the lecture. So copy and pasting the slide into ChatGPT and saying, hey, can you kind of explain this for me or give me some ideas of how I can memorize it? I know AI has given me some subpoints of like examples that I can go off of and what I can, because in psychology, it's all about examples and memorization. So it gives me ideas of how I can memorize that theory or description.
So
I would say the same thing. I do have trouble also starting to write pretty much like any type of essay or work when it comes to school. So ChatGPT does help me kind of like give me a couple ideas that I can kind of like piggyback off and make my own, but also just kind of give me that one start that I can't find on my own, that sometimes I just kind of need a little bit of a push. But also the study guide thing, like putting all my information in for my classes and just kind of making a bigger study guide or kind of boxing it into sections based on how I would want to study for my classes is how I usually utilize it for my education. I would say I've only really messed with ChatGPT. I don't think I've used anything else.
Just like the chat bot.
Yeah, just the chat bot format. But I have heard of other forms, but I haven't gone into any of them. But I think those are the main ones that I really use to help me with school. And it's just mainly like for studying, to create that outline, and then just kind of also maybe even create me a schedule of like when I should study, when I should study, how I should study, even like the tips that they give us in terms of memorization and everything.
Yeah.
Like they've said, I kind of use it just to use it as a point of start, or if I don't really understand what the question's asking, especially if it's like write this essay, because I'm doing social studies, so it's a lot of like history based, and then like if I'm not understanding like what the question's saying per se, I would put it in ChatGPT and be like, can you further explain what the question's asking?
Okay.
And then I would go off from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Daisy, you've had experience, especially you've had a range of experiences, especially with your studies in education, especially in mid-grade education. Have you kind of interacted with maybe in some previous internship experience that you've done, or maybe in teaching a lot of kids? Have you kind of seen AI already play out even at a young level like that?
Honestly, I have not. I feel like all the placements I've been, they pretty are proactive about we were using like pencil and paper. But to be honest, most of these kids don't really know how to Google search per se. So when introducing AI, it's like if they don't know how to Google search, how are they going to ask questions and AI would answer? So I don't want to say like most of these students are lacking like the basic research skills that they should have, but that's kind of what I'm saying. But that's only from like the placements I've seen where like I'll be like, okay, let's search up native animals in Asia. And then they put like animal Asia. It's like, well, we're missing a couple words here.
Yeah.
But once again, they're probably like sixth graders. But I don't know when like those skills of like how, because once again, like learning how to research like using Google and like Internet like Explorer and stuff like that is just like a new skill that's brought up with like this generation. And it's getting like furthered like mastered by the next generation, but like this is like a new thing that's going on that like I feel like people like 20 years ago wouldn't understand. Like they probably would have done it like in high school, but when you're like sitting there in a like with sixth graders being like, can you like search this up, and they don't really know how to do it, I'm like, that's where like I'm going like, if they don't know how to use Google, how are they going to use ChatGPT in an effective way that is not just like what's 2 + 2 = 4, if that makes sense.
Right. Daisy, you're a Golden Apple Scholar. Can you quickly explain to us the whole program? And also congratulations.
Thank you.
So it's pretty much just where you're kind of like bound to in-state teaching at a school of need. So like either a Title I or school that are like lacking out of funding. And pretty much you teach there for 5 years, in which Golden Apple like pays through scholarships throughout your 4 years of your, or 4 or 5 years, how many years you're going through college, and they pay for your schooling. And then there's like Scholar Institute. It's like a summer program in which it's pretty much like an advanced like 3-week course in which they teach you pretty much just like new ways of teaching, or like how you can incorporate technology. And one of like the sessions that I joined was how to use AI in a meaningful way. And pretty much it talked about how that like, yes, your students will use AI, but will you also use AI? Because they showed us this website, I think it's called like Magic website or Magic School. I don't know what exactly it is, but if you search up teacher AI, it's the first one that pops up.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty scary in how much it can actually do. It can grade papers, it can give out tests, it can give out lessons, so on and so on. And we did have a discussion about how when like if like AI keeps developing at the rate it is, will like teachers be another job that will be substituted by AI? And it was a discussion that we were having, and most of the people were like, no, because there needs to be a human aspect. But like AI is rapidly growing, so I don't really know. Like I could say yes for right now, but I don't know what's going to look like. I don't know, even in 6 months.
I'd like to think that the human race is like reasonable, because especially in a given classroom, you only really have either one professor or one teacher. So if we just get rid of that one human aspect, I'd like to think that the human race is reasonable to the point where we can decide like we don't want to be taught by AI or robots.
Right, but the same narrative could be said about teaching out of the textbook and using only worksheets. So that is just the next step to it.
I think I use it a lot for sending messages, honestly. I will tell AI I'll tell them what I want to say, especially like in a leadership role, or telling my exec team to get their work done. I think it can be hard not to sound too pushy. So I'll literally tell AI, like, say this in a respectful manner. and it's like really nice. And like, it's just something that I wouldn't really like type out. It's my words, but it's just saying it in a more respectful way. Or if I want to persuade someone to maybe do something, like do something that I wouldn't formally tell them to do. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but just like different tones. I think that's really what I use it for. Yeah.
For me, I think I would kind of also use the same way for text messages, or if I feel like I wrote something down that could sound a little bit better, but I could need a little more help, I put it in and I'll just be like, ChatGPT, can you make this sound a little less wordy, a little more professional, or give it a little more specifics on what I'm trying to push for. And otherwise, I mean, I don't know what other way to say it. Not that I use it as a Google search, but sometimes if I need some type of creative ideas just for fun, because I do like to draw or do like to do photography, like if I want some type of creative, like, what should I do? Or like, how can I build off of this idea, and how can I really bring it in? Or if I feel like I have a good idea, but I just feel like I want other things that are just not, I don't know, just to complete it. I feel like it's incomplete. If I wanted something else to add, maybe I can get more ideas from ChatGPT. But I feel like I use it in that sense. Or also working out, making my plan, meal plan.
If
I want to maybe change my diet or something like that. Or in terms of like my hair, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And is there just kind of an overall feeling about how that just kind of affects your... I'm essentially just trying to grasp if there's like kind of any other ideas that you guys have kind of used it for, or just in general, how does it make your, I guess, personal lives a little bit more, a little suave, or just like you like, do you guys like the integration of AI into your personal lives, or I guess?
I love it. I mean, I think that I use the messages tool a lot for sending emails and text messages. It almost like knows how I talk at this point, because I'll type directly into the chat box of what I want to say. And sometimes I'll even say it like how I would say it. And it does.
Oh, wow.
So like when you guys say like, oh, like I've seen messages that sound like they're from ChatGPT, I just like, I can't relate to that, because I think at this point, it might just be because I'm using 4.0. I'm a little biased, but I think it's like integrated to kind of like realize the things that I would say, and then basing that off of like what it gives me.
Any other ideas?
I definitely do think it's been a bit of like a it's just a good supporting tool. I feel like in terms of school, especially when I do have trouble and I use it to create those outlines and kind of help me, I feel like that makes my life a lot easier. And then just like the whole time management thing, making those schedules and everything. So I feel like in that aspect, it's definitely been a good and positive thing in my life. I don't know what I'd say about the other, because I know they're doing more with AI and what they're building, but for the most part, I would say just the chat box for me is cool.
You guys come from a very diverse kind of set of fields of study. So we have education, we have advertising and studio art design, and then we have psychology, but especially in human resources. So kind of gauging a little bit about what the future of what your fields might look like, especially with that integration of AI, which at this point I think we can agree like probably can't be stopped. How do you guys kind of like see your own fields of study or your own careers kind of play out with AI, whether you embrace it or not? So, and I feel like that's a conversation that we can start a little bit with the human resources, maybe. So.
Yeah, I was actually in the elevator the other day, and I was telling this guy that was in the elevator because he asked, "Oh, like, are you interning for PepsiCo?" Because I had one of those like PepsiCo bags from the career fair, and I was like, "Oh no, like I was just at the career fair," and then he was asking me like what field I'm in, and I said human resources, and right away he was telling me, "Oh, AI is going to take your job." I was like, oh, like, so yeah, that's where I'm at. But honestly, I think AI is definitely used in human resources for a lot of things, to screen resumes, to kind of weed out candidates that are not fit for the job. And that's just because for specific jobs, people will apply for 300, 400 applicants. And, I would think that before AI, people were actually going through those systems, and they probably weren't using specifically AI, but they were maybe using Control F and typing in, the qualifications that they're looking for. So either way, in human resources, we've all been using some source of AI or support system in human resources. It's just like getting more integrated into human resources day by day. So yeah, I mean, I use it for my internship when I'm trying to weed out candidates for a position, or I use it to send emails to people that I haven't sent the email to before. So cross-referencing email lists through documentation. It's just easier that way. It makes my life easier. And I think it can be used for a lot of support systems and human resources.
And do you feel that kind of also makes especially as your position as the vice president for human resources RSO, do you kind of find a lot of AI kind of being able to kind of make your job a little bit more effective and efficient in that sense?
Yeah, it definitely is efficient. I think using AI, like when you're applying for interviews, is also like something that you should do. Like you should use it as a support system because they're using AI to screen your resume. So you almost need to use it if you want to have those keywords in your resume. My manager always tells me like to use AI as using keywords in your resume and your cover letter to stand out, because the AI will really just not, you won't stick out to an AI robot if you don't have the keywords of the job description. That's what they say, at least.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, sorry, I was thinking of this. I think we talked to the same guy. Someone also said to me after I told them that I was doing this major, aren't you worried about AI? No. Well, maybe. But I think in my field, because advertising is like marketing, but more the creative side, and that studio art design, a lot of that is like creating art, and all this new AI, like being able to create all these different types of artwork. I do feel like there could be, and not even only artwork, like music too, and just all these different stuff that could work with the arts. I feel like there definitely will be a really big change. I don't know what that change will be. And I feel like it can be positive and negative, because there are already people who are kind of using AI and integrating that into their art, into their advertising, and using it as more of a supporting role and kind of helping them. But I feel like the way AI is kind of going, it also, not that I feel like we will get rid of advertising, like jobs and studio art, like actual art, because when AI does make art, I don't know, you can tell it's AI art. You can tell there's no emotion behind it, there's no feeling. And also when people do make art, it's usually for fun, to show and express how they feel about something, or just kind of, share what they want to share through their art. So I feel like in terms of maybe I don't know, half and half.
Yeah.
I feel like it just kind of depends. And then with advertising, I don't know. I feel like that can be taken away just because if we're creating advertisements, we're doing all these digital marketings and we're giving ChatGPT all these information, like how would, I guess, we as advertisers kind of navigate that if it's already kind of being done for us? But again, that human aspect is important, knowing the audience. Even if you do tell ChatGPT this amount of stuff, at the end of the day, they won't know everything. And you still kind of do have to adjust and kind of have that human aspect. So I feel like it will still be okay, but it will affect both industries in a really big way.
Right. It takes human to know human.
Yeah. Exactly.
I feel like no matter what, AI will be here, so it doesn't really, like, it would be kind of foolish not to take advantage of the resources given by AI as opposed to, like, outright banning it, as, like, it affecting, like, a teacher role. It kind of just depends on the district you're working for and how much they want to implicate that in the school, or, like, if they're really, like, AI focused, maybe they want to, like, have AI lessons, or they, like, actually find, like, a third-party company who only makes AI lessons and then buy that, like write from it and then use it in their classrooms. It just kind of depends on what district and what school you're kind of wanting to work at, and what, like, how your beliefs in AI fit with, like, the way the school wants to teach.
Right. And kind of with that, just to kind of do some kind of closing remark, do any of you kind of have any other ideas about AI that plays in your lives, professional, informal, whatever, that you kind of want to, like, voice out right now? What did that be to?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just say AI and, like, how computers was kind of integrated in the internet, and how maybe this is just me, but I do feel like our world tends to go a little far when it comes to all these new and exciting things like computers, like the internet, Google, like AI, building all these different robots and everything. I feel like it is really cool and we can use it and it can help us and kind of develop our world. But I think to an extent, we do sometimes forget that being, like, I don't know, curiosity kills the cat. Sometimes if you go so far, it can create, because we've seen the dystopian worlds where, like, oh, robots come and they destroy us, or there's this and that. Not that this will happen, but in terms of, like, I feel like there's some people don't really know their limit in terms of, like, not doing too much, not taking over all of our jobs, not getting rid of these things that are important, like the human aspects of our lives, and not just using as a supporting role, like, you know, having a robot as a waitress. I mean, I guess that can be, you're taking away 9-to-5 jobs for people who actually need to, you know, create a living. So I guess in terms of luxury, like, I don't know, I just don't feel like that was just something I want to say, but, like, yeah.
I was going to speak about the environmental impact that AI does have and how much water and electricity it does use. It's like a topic I feel like sometimes is, like, overshadowed by, like, how great AI could be. It's kind of concerning on how much, like, electricity and how much water is being used, and how much, like, there's no, like, regulation right now for it.
Right.
And, like, how global warming is so bad right now. It is a concern that's, like, it's more like a conscious thing, if anything.
Right.
Yeah, I always think about WALL-E, like the movie, and, like, we're just gonna, like, turn into people and are, like, I don't know, like, sitting there.
Yeah.
And I also think about, like, social media and, like, how a lot of the things on social media are almost AI generated, that we as humans, like, can't even configure, like, what's real and what's not anymore. And that scares me. Like, the other day I saw, like, the hurricane in Florida, and Disney World was, like, underwater, and I actually believed it for, like, 5 minutes. But then I looked it up and it wasn't. So that scares me. I think, like, AI generated images are, like, so realistic now that it's, like, you can't, like, differentiate what's real and what's not. And I'm also thinking about like, how you can limit AI usage. I heard, like, when you were talking about education and using kind of like a different computer system to kind of limit the use of how much AI can go. And I think that would be, like, a good alternative for, like, students to use, and being able to kind of ban ChatGPT, but then having their own system to kind of have their own ChatGPT to be able to only give them support system and not cheating.
Yeah.
I think that's our only hope, but then how are you gonna
regulate and make all these different sections and sides?
Yeah.
I also want to say the comment you made about, like, the environmental awareness. I think that also, us not being, not us, but, you know, just in general, but just not being environmentally conscious and more, and I guess more focus on creating all these new things and not really thinking about what we already had, what we should preserve, what we should make sure is okay, like our Earth, and then just making all these different like stuff with like AI and robot stuff that can really affect it. I just feel like that is also something that just is important and should be thought of.
Yeah. No, and definitely all things that we should really consider. So it's really great to have you guys kind of share your ideas about AI's efficiency, practicality, but also the regulation that kind of comes with the implications of how it's kind of used in today's society. So once again, everyone, my name is Dulf Vincent Genis, and I'm here with Daisy, Bruktawit, and Abby, really amazing friends that I get to call. Yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks for kind of joining me on this little talk that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.